understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV Report for the week ending Saturday, April 28th, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we have 6 new episodes this week. We're taking it easy on you. Only 6.
Yep. 6 new episodes. 6 fun-filled episodes. Well,
6 something-filled episodes.
Yeah. It was a great start. Kind of a rough ending, but
I'm
no spoilers.
Sure. I'm conflicted about even the start this week. So yeah. So in case you're keeping score, my co-host Ed has seen Infinity Wars twice.
Yes.
I have seen it 0.
Mm-hmm.
But I am seeing it in 2.5 hours. So
okay,
that's where we stand.
Yes, yeah. Oh, any Wicked Theory enthusiasts out there, go onto YouTube. I just recently, in prep for Infinity War, binged all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and did a little video diary about it. So I know at least two of those videos have posted. I think the third one's either posted yesterday or is posting up today.
Yeah, I've been looking. So. I saw the phase 1, and I've been kind of waiting for the next phase to drop. Although low-key, it feels like you've been cheating on me with Marvel. So
it was a mission that was set upon me by myself.
At least you know who to blame.
Yeah. Fun times. So yeah, check that out. Also, things are really busy right now. We have, we're probably going to have like 7 episodes a week for at least the next week or next like 3 or 4 weeks. So we're coming into the home stretch, but soon our summer is going to be a little bit more free. And we've been taking suggestions for the kind of stuff you want us to cover. Remember, you can tweet at us at DCTV Report. Make sure you hashtag it DCTV Summer. We've had 2 suggestions already. One from our buddy Dan at Deke273, who suggests that we rewatch all of Batman the Animated Series. Which
I have never seen, so I'd be really open to that. I think that's an intriguing suggestion.
Wow. I can't believe, that's surprising that you've never seen it, because I just remember running home from school, from preschool, to catch that on Fox 5.
This might be a function of our difference in ages, which we won't elaborate upon because, I'm a withered crone, but I wasn't in the right age, and cartoons weren't really my thing when it was on. And then now there's just so much. We are living in the golden age of television, and it is hard to circle back to things like that. So it would be fun to have an excuse to actually do that.
Yeah. And I think the real reason, like, if you want to see a true adaptation, like, that's the closest you're ever going to get to seeing a Batman comic on screen. I'm just saying, and you're not old, Sarah. Stop it.
Well, I thank you, Edward. I appreciate that.
Also, Agent Palmer at Agent Palmer thinks that the only real option that we do have is watching all of Darkwing Duck, which is which is a lovely cartoon, but not a DC property. So, in the words of Gene Wilder, you lose. Good day, sir.
Now, had he said DuckTales, I might have fought a little harder to bend the rules. Ooh, but Darkwing Duck is probably not going to get my full support. So, in the words of Gene Wilder, good day. Frankenstein, in the words of Gene Wilder.
So that's what's been going on. You want to just jump right in? You want to just you ready to go?
With 6 episodes and tickets to Infinity War on the line, yeah, let's just jump in.
yeah, we may be able to get this done in like under an hour.
Let's do it. Challenge accepted.
All right. So first up, Lucifer, Season 3, Episode 21. Anything Pierce can do, I can do better. Chloe and Lucifer investigated the murder of a premier ballerina. Marcus changed his mind and tried to win back Chloe, while Lucy pulled out all the stops in an effort to prove to Chloe that Marcus was the worst. Last minute reveal, Lucifer watched from a window as Marcus proposed, and Chloe said yes.
I have never yelled at my TV more during an episode of Lucifer than I did during this episode of Lucifer. He came so close. He had this epiphany. He was, and then Lucifer, we were all rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Oh, that was hard to watch.
I blame Dr. Linda.
Dr. Linda is perfect. Dr. Linda is the hero that this show needed. Dr. Linda speaks the truth.
No. Oh, I think letting him walk out of her office with that impression, even though, like, you know, you're not going to change his mind, like, that's the one time she should have went, stop. Well,
and to be fair, she did say, I probably should have stopped him that time. I think they kind of tried to explain it away by having her say, I have been wrestling with friend versus therapist, and friend finally won. So I think maybe we were supposed to think it was an ethical issue with her. But you're right, mm-hmm. It was way too late. Still, I'm glad she said those things to him. I think it's going to make him a better person / devil moving forward, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But you're right, it was way too little, way too late. But everything she said was the freaking truth. So, Dr. Lee.
I just wish that we checked in with her. Because she just shows up in the last act and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, I think I made a mistake." Like, I think we should have shown her at least one other time during the episode struggling with what she had to do,
or maybe leaving him a voicemail. Hey, I really need to talk to you. That would have been kind of nice to have seen that. I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, I always like to see more of Dr. Linda on the show. So.
Also, at Deke273 does asks if either of us feel that this week's Lucifer was lazy or cliche.
We both just kind of. I am on record as really vociferously not liking Chloe and Pierce at all, and not buying it. And so I don't know that it's lazy. The writing's a little lazy in terms of getting them to that point because it's not believable. Other than that, though, I thought the Lucifer epiphany stuff was powerful, and I was excited to see it. But I'm not thrilled with where this has been headed. How's that?
Yeah. I mean, I would say, maybe the investigation side of it felt very rote.
Yes, of course.
The whole ballerina thing. It just, I don't know. Usually I feel like, I mean, you did have the connection at the end where that kind of gave Lucifer that realization, but I don't know.
It was super on the nose this week. It's not always quite that literal, and in this case, Lucifer literally was like, he did this, which is what I did. Oh no, we are the same. So, that was a little much, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know. There were a lot of things that were going on this week. I felt bad for Lucifer that he was so stupid.
I also am a little uncomfortable with the Menadil is manipulating too strong a word, Charlotte, to get her to help him, to get Charlotte to think that if she helps him, she's doing God's will, and maybe that will buy her way into heaven. And so she's just gung-ho about that. That made me a little, like, I feel like Amenadiel might not be quite that devious. He would be more of a straight shooter. But still, we got a motorcycle chase. Sarah. Desperate times.
Desperate times.
Lucifer
Sarah.
is his test on Earth, so...
Yeah. Well, I'm actually a little bit more surprised that Charlotte is still so trusting of them.
Yeah, that's get out of my office.
I mean, they did just explain to her last week that, oh yeah, we're on the outs with God. So we can't help you at all in that department.
I guess any port in a storm, I guess. I feel like this idea that vulnerability comes from Chloe's love is a bit of a stretch. And I don't think that's the accepted canonical explanation, is it? Lucifer is vulnerable around her. That's it. So this leap to it's her love. And if I'm still vulnerable, she loves me too. I don't know. I just felt like they were kind of assuming facts, not in evidence, basically.
Well, if you go back to the pilot, I never really got the sense that Chloe had any kind of feelings for Lucifer.
No, and that's why I was surprised Lucifer didn't argue back. The whole Pierce plan, get her to love me, but stop her from saying I love you before it hurts her. I mean, it was all ridiculous. You know what, Dan? Yes. Lazy writing. Lazy, incomprehensible writing in order to get them to the point where they want to have them, which is Chloe bafflingly engaged. And what's so frustrating is I still like Lucifer. I'm still on board with Tom Ellis. I'm still enjoying very much Charlotte, Dr. Linda. Ella as the number one cheerleader has been super irritating with the Chloe Pierce thing, and it's made me dislike Ella actually a little bit. So I don't know. I'm irritated with half the cast, but I still super love the other half. So this has been a strange show for me to watch, talk about, and write about for EW.com this season because it's just all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I was laughing at Lucifer at the end. Like, that's what you get. That's what you get.
Ed, that's so mean.
But like, no, like he seriously has to stop this wedding. And it looks like I feel like they're gonna fast track this. Like we're gonna start hearing, church bells within like the next couple weeks, right?
Yeah. I think you are onto something there.
Mm-hmm.
Says the person who's seen the screener for next week already. So.
Okay. All right. Well, don't give away anything.
Oh,
don't give away anything.
I would never.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Is there any news?
Just that. Speaking of next week's episode, it is All Hands on Decker, which I still think is a great title, and it will feature a party bus and Maze dressed like a 50s housewife.
Huh?
Yeah, pearls. The coif, right. The whole nine.
Okay. Don't get that last one, but all right.
Oh, you'll get it. You'll see.
All right. Then I think we're moving right along. Next up is Supergirl, Season 3, Episode 15, In Search of Lost Time. Murn's self-treatment of his dementia began causing everyone at the DEO to lash out at each other in anger. Mon-El tried teaching Kara some cape tricks, and Murn's psychic bleeds caused Kara to air all her pent-up frustration for Mon-El. Lena had to use tough love to prove to Sam that she was blacking out and mutating into Rain. Last-minute reveal, Kara and Mon-El flew over the city and discovered dead birds falling from the sky, which Mon-El believed to be a sign of pestilence.
I did love that when we saw those birds start falling from the sky, everybody knew exactly what was happening. That was, I appreciated that. They had that little drop in of like it manifests itself in death and illness, and then at the end of the episode, you get the dead birds. It was good. It was well constructed. I so enjoyed this episode. I'm glad to have Supergirl back, especially as much as I've struggled with God knows Arrow this season and a little bit the Flash. to have Supergirl back and to have a fun, dramatic, I mean, don't think about it too hard because it doesn't make total sense, but I'm just enjoying it so much, episode of Supergirl really it was very welcome this week. I found myself really enjoying it.
Yeah. I thought the John Myrne storyline was heartbreaking.
Oh my God, yes. And those two men, I mean, they kill it every week. And when you have them acting together like that, oh, yeah, lovely stuff.
Yeah, Carl Lumley, man, Carl Lumley, just I thought he nailed it. Nailed it.
Well, and the anger, and you understand the anger and the confusion and the fear and all of it. He's so good. I'm delighted they've added him to the show. I wish that we'd had a little bit more of him. I mean, it's tough because we have been off, and it's just as the second episode back. It interrupted a little bit of the momentum, I think, with that storyline of his. Would have been nice to have built up to it a little bit more with his moods and his rage and all of that. But I'm glad we got it. I'm glad they gave it to us, and I hope they don't forget about him for the rest of the season. And I don't think they will.
Quick question: could the DEO hire someone who has like a PhD in alien biology? Because I feel like they need a doctor on call for all the stuff that's been going on, just specifically with aliens.
Alex.
Again, could they hire someone with like an MD in alien biology?
I would love to see that on the casting list for next season. Damn it, Jim! I'm an alien doctor, not a.
Because they had one thing where she talks about I thought about going to medical school, and all of a sudden anytime someone's hurt, she's patching them up. Just buckle down, put down a couple grand, hire somebody.
How much would you love it if they hired John Billingsley, who played Dr. Phlox? How great would that be?
That would be incredible. That would be perfect. Same makeup.
Actually, literally hire Dr. Phlox. Make him Dr. It's a Star Trek thing, people. It's a Star Trek thing.
Yes. Yeah, he's still working. He was on Lucifer a while back.
He was. That's kind of why he was top of mind for me. He was a serial killer.
Yeah. For a second, I thought you meant Peter Billingsley. I'm like, the kid from Christmas Story? Oh, okay.
All he does is run around saying, "You'll shoot your eye out." That's his only medical advice.
But yeah, a lot of really tough moments. I think the John Myrne thing, and then Lena and Sam.
I loved the reminder that Lena is a cold boss who gets things done the way she needs to get things done. And I bet, we've seen some news, and we'll talk about this in the news section a little bit, but we have seen some news talking about there's going to be some conflict between Kara and Lena coming up. And this was a great reminder that Lena does what she needs to do because she is a damn Luthor, and that's what she do. And I love the way she handled it. I loved Sam knowing what buttons to push and saying, you're sick, you go to an oncologist, they say cancer. You go to a Luthor, and they say supervillain. Oh, burn. That stuff was good.
Yeah. I thought it was great. And I think it leads us right into the revelation or the realization that there is no good reason for her to be with James.
No, there's not. No. It's to tell the Supercorp shippers to sit down and look, Lena's with a dude now. So that's, genuinely, I really think it was to try to diffuse some of that. And it has not been the most organic or authentic in this show. And poor James, that poor actor and that poor character. Is there a worse used character on Supergirl? No.
Yeah.
At least he's not Guardian right now. So that's something.
Just get back together with Lucy Lane and retire. Just move to DC and just be a house husband. I think he'd be much happier that way. But yeah.
And
cool.
then,
and what'd you think of Karen Monell?
The writers have clearly been reading the comment sections because that rant against Mon-El is 100% taken from criticism of the character that people have been lobbing at him for a season and a half now. So I thought it was really interesting that they had Supergirl shout things at him that a lot of the fandom had been feeling for a long time. And my question is, did they do that to try to make her acknowledge it so they can build a romantic relationship again between them? Or did they do that to acknowledge it and sort of absolve him so they can be buddies and he can go back to the 31st century? I don't quite know what the goal of that was. And I'll be really curious to see how that progresses. But it was a very direct, I thought, response to fans who are frustrated with Mon-El, which was interesting.
I just had a thought of something that would be really cool, but is so expensive they would never do it.
Go on.
Which would be that they do make up and get together, and the way they resolve it is that she decides to go back with him to the 31st century, and season 4 is just Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes. And then season 5 is when she goes back home and nothing's happened. Like like no time has passed. Because that's the way that Superboy and Supergirl's Adventures with the Legion works.
Huh.
Like they go off, have an adventure, and come back like to the same moment that they left.
Do you think that's something that they could do for an episode or two? That feels like a very CW thing. I mean, like with Flashpoint on Flash, which was undone in an episode. Have her have this gallivanting futuristic adventure and then come back the next episode. Yeah, they could do it for an episode. They could. I'd be into that. They sent her to Mars for an episode, didn't they? They sent her to... they've done a lot of interplanetary one-episode things. So. Yeah. I enjoyed the Supergirl hanging out and working out in sweats. Apparently was something that the writers' room had been pushing for a while. And so we finally got to see Supergirl just like at the DEO doing her thing in sweatpants. So Supergirl, she's just like us. The cape thing with the smart fabric, is that at all comic booky, or is that a thing that they made up for this show?
You know what? It's something that might be from the comic books. It feels so wacky that it has to be, but I can't remember of any specific instance. Again, I don't read the Legion that much. I've always found it impenetrable, but it might be something that Mon-El's character does. I don't know.
Well, I kind of enjoyed the Cape Kata, so if they want to keep doing that, that's cool.
Yeah.
By the way, are we about an episode away from somebody just saying, "Oh, Brainy, he just ran out to get a gallon of milk. He'll be back." You just missed him. Because honestly, how many times are they going to be like, "Oh yeah, he's off world"? Right.
Yeah, he had to go to Ohio for a funeral.
He's taking a phone call outside. There's not good reception in here, so...
Yeah. So,
how expensive is blue makeup? I mean...
I don't know. I don't know. They had them for 6 episodes, and they've already used them for 3. I don't know. Contracts. All right. Was any news to Supergirl?
Just a couple of tidbits about upcoming episodes. May 14th, Shelter from the Storm will feature Rain hunting down Ruby. And Sam's mother will also recur, and she will bring with her shocking news, and Mon-El makes a, quote, tough decision. And then on May 21st, The Fanatical, the team finds an object to help in the World Killer fight. And this was on bleedingcool.com, and the writer suggested that the Fanatical might be referring to something with Thomas Coville, which, that tracks the name, the attitude. And frankly, I'd love to see him again because I think Thomas Coville has been a fantastic recurring storyline this season. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
All right. Next up, iZombie. Season 4, Episode 8. Chivalry is dead. Liv ate the brain of a LARPer who was posing as a zombie. Dale finally slept with someone and Clive got very upset. Major tagged along with Russ on his wild nights. Peyton decided to help the Renegade cause with some creative fundraising. After Mr. Big jumped out of a crate of brains, Blaine asked Angus to use his followers to stop a bus full of prisoners, including a guy who stole from Mr. Big. Last minute reveal, Liv scratched Isabel, a young refugee, and nothing happened.
Quite a surprise.
Whoa. That was big.
Okay, so here's my question. I get Peyton not knowing who the Borg is. I get that. Peyton doesn't know who the Borg is, but how does Clive not know the TARDIS? Clive is a huge Game of Thrones fan. I feel like that indicates a certain genre appreciation that would lead him to know what the frickin' TARDIS is.
I read fantasy, not sci-fi.
I feel like those two things really go hand in hand. Those are very kissing cousins, which is appropriate given I just talked about Game of Thrones.
You know what? You would think that. And I know more people the other way. I know a lot of people who are diehard sci-fi and hate the fantasy genre with all their life. So
well, and I also know a lot of people who shun all genre but are super into Game of Thrones. So I guess, I actually could see Clive being somebody who's like, I don't do dragons and things, but I do Game of Thrones because I do know a lot of people like that. But no, I felt like I was disappointed. I was disappointed in our Clive. I wanted him to be a little geekier, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect.
He has an aversion to all things British. I don't know.
I don't trust him traveling around like that, back and forth in time. No, sir. I don't like it.
Yeah, a lot going on this episode. A lot going on.
Yeah, yes, yeah. But boy, did I want Liv to put a sock in it this episode. I don't usually say that, but this brain was a lot.
Yeah?
Yep.
I don't know. I was into it. I think that's kind of the fun of it, is like we're making progress and Liv shows up and starts talking. You're like, oh no. She's going to screw this up. I find that very entertaining.
I did like one of their interviewees being like, I want to make her break character. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. And we got to learn all about the underground world of LARPing.
Mm-hmm. Cutthroat, brutal. That dude stored the sword inside himself. That was impressive.
Yeah. And the zombie element adds a whole new element to this.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, and this is definitely a type of case that they would not have been able to do in seasons past.
Ooh, that's a fun observation. Yeah, you're right. They wouldn't have been able to have had quite the same outcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, I'm just moving around here just because we got so much to cover here. Do you think Peyton's biting off more than she can chew?
Yes, I do. She's never been my favorite character. She's always been a little, I feel like, plot convenient. She pops up and is helpful when we need her, and then she just kind of gets shuffled to the side. And she just has felt a little more peripheral too often for me to be like, oh yeah, she's got this. I don't know. Maybe I'm underselling the character perhaps, but I don't know. I'm sure they'll write her to be competent and capable of doing it, but what we've seen so far, I wouldn't think that would work terribly well. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think it is kind of weird that it's just weird because she's, now that Ravi's down, she's like one of the last straight up human characters in the show. So they almost have to make her a little bit more prominent because you have to have some humans. That's the show. Is the human zombie thing. So yeah, they're going to have to find ways to keep her involved, I think, and central, because you're right. You have very few people left. Zombies are people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm going to be interested to see how Mr. Big is able to connect the dots to her to figure out that she's the one who took that money. We got Mr. Big back.
Yes, we did. I didn't realize I had missed him until he literally popped up. Yay!
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was a little surprised that Angus was so willing to play ball.
Oh, I don't trust that guy. But yeah, I was too. It did surprise me that he went along with it. Yeah. I was thrilled that Major didn't actually murder people. That made me happy. I mean, they're not gonna turn Major into a completely evil, murderous character. But when he actually was like, no, we're not gonna. Oh, whew, okay, good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Him and Russ.
Yeah.
Russ is a jerk.
Yes, he is. I'm worried about that element falling in with Major, but he has proven true to himself so far.
Yeah. All right. I'm just trying to go through. Was there anything else in here?
Blaine should never be given the power to swallow on command. I mean, that's just dirty. So.
Yeah, we did have some fun one-liners tonight.
Yeah. And I remember early news before the season premiered was that it was going to be a little lighter and a little bit more fun this season. Now I see how bananas that is, because there's some heavy themes this season. So sometimes tonally it feels a little kind of jarring, but when it's funny, it's so funny. So I'm glad that it's still keeping that element in.
Yeah, and I'm just confused as to why Dale and Bab and Clive are still together.
Yes.
I mean,
guys, sometimes love just isn't enough. You've just gotta go your separate ways. It's sad, but
I mean, he agreed to this, so I don't know what else he was expecting. So yeah, it's just not gonna work. Sorry.
And I think that's where we're headed. I mean, clearly with him last week hiring the Lady of the Night and this week with her going out with people, I think we're headed toward, I assume, a breakup, or I mean, there is no other resolution, I don't think. So that's the only thing is either a happy open relationship, which doesn't seem to be the case, or so long. Newly single.
Man.
Yeah.
That
rough.
That in the LARP Thunderdome, that zombie Thunderdome was incredible.
Good times.
I'm sorry, I just can't. I thought that was really cool. I didn't think that they go there with this, but yeah, so that was fun.
But they did, and I'm glad.
Cool. All right. There wasn't any news for iZombie this week, right? Nope. All right. So next up is The Flash. Season 4, Episode 19, Fury Rogue. Iris believed that Barry was taking the loss of Ralph too lightly. Caitlin was reeling from having Killer Frost ripped from her. Harry learned that his thinking cap was causing permanent brain damage and struggled to dissuade Cisco from building a cap of his own. Barry pulled Citizen Cold from Earth X to help protect Fallout from the Thinker and accidentally brought Siren X to Earth 1. Marlize tried getting some quality alone time with the Thinker and got the cold shoulder. Last minute reveal, the Thinker was pleased to see that Fallout had been moved to his preferred Argus facility and became so obsessed with his mission that he brought Marlize to tears.
I cannot wait until Marlize is the thing that ultimately brings the Thinker down, because that's what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to it. They've been building this really, really well. Her hurt, her disillusionment, her betrayal, it's good stuff. The Flash has misstepped a couple of times this season, but I hope they're building toward an ultimate Marlize. I don't want to say betrayal. I mean, it would be, but it would be well deserved. And they've just built that brick by brick, and I'm here for it. That poor woman.
Yeah.
That poor supervillain. Like, I know she's not a sympathetic character, but she's a sympathetic character. Poor Marlize.
It was a lovely dress.
It really was. She just, her husband is back, and he just doesn't. She tries and she tries. She just doesn't appreciate. Reclaim your time, girl. Reclaim your time.
What are you doing with him in the first place?
I know it. Let's see. In other news, if the thing that people gaze upon sadly when they think about you following your death at the hands of a megalomaniac villain is a whoopee cushion, you've gone wrong in life. Poor Ralph.
Oh. But I mean, that's the thing. That's, what else could they have done?
No.
You're not going to do that.
Of course not.
You're not going to look at that ugly, ugly costume.
Oh. I cannot give in to the sadness on this because I just don't believe that Ralph is totally gone.
No, he's not. He's not, because he hasn't met Sue yet. He has to meet Sue.
I love this optimism of yours.
Yeah, and Berlanti wouldn't do that to me.
So you know what I want to see? I want Ralph to come back in the finale as changed in the worst way, that he's like, oh my God, this happened to me. I'm going to be the worst Ralph that I can possibly be and just be a nightmare for another episode or 2 or 5 or whatever next season. And then you meet Sue, and then the transformation. I think that would be kind of cool to have him spin out and have Sue be the one to bring him back, because I believe in the redemptive power of love. So that's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
Speaking of the redemptive power of love, we have Captain Cold, or Citizen Cold.
Yes.
The cold fella from the Nazi Earth. Glad to see him again.
I will just say, every time he turned to Barry, I felt very uncomfortable, and I don't know why. Just this moment of, oh, stay away from me. This is weird. This is very weird. I don't know why. Something about this feels wrong.
Is it the villain thing? Like, because he was Barry's villain for so long?
No,
or because they're a cute couple.
It's more just like he really wants to talk about feelings, and maybe I don't want to talk about feelings right now. This whole idea that grief is just going to overcome Barry in the middle of a battle. I don't know. It felt like a bit of a stretch for me.
Well, I was a little sorry because Citizen Cold was the grief therapist on board the Wave Rider in Legends of Tomorrow after they lost Martin Stein. And it would have been kind of funny if he had gotten the grief puppets out again for Barry, and Barry would have been like, what are you doing, man? So they missed a chance to have a great Legends callback, and that's a shame.
Maybe that was it. Like, I felt like Mick. I felt like Heatwave walking around Citizen Cold whenever that happened. Just like, whoa, what is this? What's going on? Yeah, and we got Dr. Finkel back.
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm. And it actually looks like she's a pretty good therapist.
Yeah, I thought some of the early therapy sessions were a little goofy, but this one actually felt like, Barry had stuff he wasn't processing. And so that was kind of cool to see how she helped them work through that. Mm-hmm. Grief is something you can't outrun. And I don't care if that's a pun.
No, but it was a rhyme.
Okay, let's talk about the Nazi siren for a second.
Yeah.
What was the point of that? I'm not a big Black Siren fan, but honestly, you bring her in, she's really not that different than the Black Siren we've got on Arrow. And then you're like, oh yeah, this siren's in love with Dark Arrow over on Nazi World, and he never loved her back. So you bring her in, you insult her by making her in love with the same dude who still doesn't love her. And then you just kind of have her there for no, I don't know. I wasn't quite sure why we had Nazi Siren.
Well,
other than to remind us of how much better the crossover was. I mean, as I'm watching that, I was just like, God, that crossover was really good, and this is not as much.
Well, at Deke273 has a theory. He does Katie Cassidy have some sort of incriminating photos of some head muckety muck at the CW?
It does kind of make you wonder because she just keeps coming back.
Mm-hmm. And I would say I'm okay with this as long as Quentin Lance never finds out.
Oh my God. Can you imagine Quentin Lance trying to redeem Nazi Siren? Oh God.
Just keep it off the news. Please. Please.
He'll be there. He'll be there the next day. Laurel, I know I'm not your dad, but I'm your dad.
More on that later in the show.
Yeah, to be continued.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind it as much. I thought it was an interesting wrinkle. I think it was cool to bring over an Earth X villain. And if you're gonna bring someone over, why not have someone you already have on the payroll?
Well, and they killed a lot of the other ones. I mean, there weren't that many. And obviously, you're not going to get Amel. You're not going to get Benoist to cross over. And they were dead. But she probably was the biggest alternate Earth X person that they could have. I mean, right? Are there other people that we didn't already see who hadn't already been dispatched who could have even theoretically come? It made good sense, I suppose, if you want to go that route.
Yeah, I mean, maybe an alternate version of one of the legends, like if it had been Sara Lance, maybe, but she didn't have a canary cry. She was just an assassin.
Yeah. But still, I'm in favor of Katie Lotz being on the show as much as she can, so that would have been cool.
Yeah. All right. Anything more on The Flash? Any news?
News-wise, we have some information about upcoming episodes. This week's episode is going to feature Gypsy and the Define the Relationship talk that she and Cisco are going to have. I don't know how that's going to go for him. And then as we get to the end of the season, we're going to see the Council of Harrisons, which is like the Council of Wells that we saw earlier, but emo. Apparently. We are going to learn more about Mystery Girl and how she fits into this season and will fit into next season. And then the finale will be Inception-like, which means it best feature Tom Hardy. That's all.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Next up we have Krypton. Season 1, Episode 6, Civil Wars. Despite objections from Adam Strange, Seg-El and Lyta Zod worked with General Zod to try and uncover a weapon in the caves that could potentially defeat Brainiac. Jaina Zod and the Vex clan enlisted Dev M to help plant a bomb that would kill the Voice of Rao. Ona continued learning from the Voice of Rao and was offered a chance at eternal life. Last-minute reveal: after being led into a trap by Dev, the Voice of Rao removed his helmet and tentacles shot from his hands, attacking the Sagittari.
So, this should be interesting. This should be interesting to me. And I'm just still not super... So... Zod is also a time traveler. And so, Adam, is he back in time to actually stop Brainiac? Or is he back in time to stop Zod from stopping Brainiac? That should be interesting. Why am I still bored? Ed, why am I bored? What's wrong with me?
I don't know, because this kicked into high gear for me. And to me, I was all over this. I was like, oh, so like, this is funny because Adam Strange thinks he's supposed to help Seg, and by stopping Brainiac, he'll save Superman. But now that Zod's there, I don't know. And I think that's cool is that Adam Strange doesn't understand why he's there, and he's conflicted now as to who should he help. Should he be stopping Zod?
My brain knows that it should be, and I should be super into that, and I just still am not.
Yeah, and also we got to see Doomsday. And
that did get Doomsday from my comic reading husband. So there was that.
Doomsday. And you know what? That, molded version of Doomsday that was just sitting there on the wall and animated already looked incredibly better than the Doomsday that we saw in Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. Just saying. Like that's what Doomsday is not 100 feet tall.
There is a big black hole in my memory where that should be. All I remember is that awesome woman showing up, and she was awesome. Wait. She was wonderful. That's what I remember from that. Nothing else. Nothing else matters. This to me feels like some of the worst seasons / episodes of Game of Thrones, where it's just a ton of people talking about intricate plotting, treason, how do we get out of this, who are we going to murder to get our way out of this, things that you have to be super into the world to enjoy. You have to be deep into the world to be like, oh, yeah, you got to plot, you got to work with this guy and use this guy's weakness and do that. And if you're not, it's just people talking in weird costumes. And then the last 5 minutes, something, bam, happens. I feel like I had that with a lot of episodes of Game of Thrones in kind of the middle seasons. I was super into it because I've read the books. I was excited about the let's get this character, and I don't have that with this, and maybe that's the problem. I don't know, maybe it's that I just don't have the same immersion and appreciation for the world, and so I'm just not as much into the plotting and the talking. But God, there's so much plotting and talking and talking and plotting.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that was happening more, not so much for the Seg and Lyta storyline, but much more for the Jaina and Dev storyline.
Yeah, for sure. The Nyssa character has just become this impenetrable plotter, and it's not. I had so much hope for her, and she's just not lived up to that yet. We have 4 more episodes, but still. That's all. I've just subsided with an.
Well, it's also like when Jaina started airing Darren Vex's dirty laundry, like, oh, you married into this family and you're everything, like, to me that almost put him in kind of like a weak light. And now, like, oh, so Nyssa really is the big badass in this family. But yeah, I feel like they could show it, they could do more to show it. And see, it's interesting because, like, the tension between Dev and Jaina, I feel like that would be a lot more interesting if it was Lyta trying to convince him to turn than if it was Jaina.
Ooh, yeah, that's interesting. Huh? Yeah. I did feel bad for Lyta finding out that Seg is not her baby daddy. Like, oh, that's your friend? Your friend's... Aww. That's a hard way to find out where your future's going to go.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing when Zod was talking about, like, his disagreements with Kal-El. Mm-hmm. And just kind of how he bucks tradition and everything. And I'm thinking, like, from Seg's point of view, well, tradition got, the last 2 generations of your family murdered in cold blood. So I don't think tradition is really working for your family. So I don't understand, I could understand why your grandson might just say, screw this. But now, what did you think of the Rao and Ona scenes?
Mostly I wonder how they apply the words to their face. Is it like a template or a stencil? Is it sprayed, airbrushed on? Is it hand lettered with like eyeliner? That, honestly, I spent a little bit more time than I should have being like, how do they apply that so evenly? Is it a rub-on tattoo? I don't know. Yeah, sure. Adorable motherless moppet looking for eternal life. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But she made the right decision.
That's true. That's true. So Rao, is he tentacles are a thing? How do I?
Well, I remember last week.
Oh no! I know he's infected by Brainiac, but I'm sorry, Brainiac tentacles are a thing. That's a thing now that his people have tentacles to do Brainiac business.
Well, you know what? He can affect you with some type of biological entity, that can cause you to start shooting tentacles. Yeah, why not? Why not?
I didn't expect the tentacles. It was a nice surprise. I enjoyed that part. Tentacles. Yeah, shoot them with stuff from your tentacles. I guess maybe I'm eager for Brainiac to start his invasion or whatever Brainiac is going to do. I feel like he's this threat in outer space who we just don't see as much of. Kind of like on Supergirl with Brainiac 5, we're not seeing as much of the big Bs as I would kind of like in these episodes.
Yeah, and we only have 4 left this season, possibly this series. So time to start moving.
Yeah, I don't know if more people feel like you or feel like me about this show. I'm not really sure.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the viewers. We know Krypton had a great premiere. Let's see how it holds up. I have a feeling Sci-Fi is going to commit to at least a second season of this, but who knows? Yeah,
I could see a second season because they've already kind of invested in the actors and the sets and the costumes, and so why not do a second season and either up the crazy or up the drama or up the action, or give them that season to tell the stories that they think are most important to tell and then shut it down. Yeah.
All right. Any news for Krypton?
A little comic-y news for Krypton. Sean Sipos, who plays Adam Strange, says that a couple of comics helped him find that character, and they were Rann Thanagar War, The Man of Two Worlds, and Planet Heist, especially. Which means nothing to me, but I'm hoping you, Ed, got something from that.
Yes, I've read Planet Heist and Rann Thanagar War. Which, Planet Heist was the kind of the reboot of Adam Strange in the mid-aughts, around like 2004, 2005. Kind of reintroduced the character. And yeah, that's a great storyline. If you want like a primer on Adam Strange, I would read that. And Rann Thanagar War was one of the lead-up books to Infinite Crisis. And yeah, it's the people of Rann, led by Adam Strange, fighting the people of Thanagar, led by Hawkman.
Ugh, why?
In an intergalactic war.
Oh, Hawkman.
Because they are natural enemies. I am
the natural predator of the Hawkman in intergalactic settings.
Yeah, because it's the classics, science technology driven versus warrior driven cultures. Okay. So if we're gonna go to Rann, and if Ranians are showing up, the Thanagarians can't be that far behind.
All right, cool. So you say Planet Heist, and then I'm gonna go Marvel again, and immediately I thought, oh, Planet Hulk. Nope, that is the wrong. Nope. Do I get fined every time I bring up Marvel on this podcast? Is there a big ledger someplace in Wicked Theory HQ where Bill's just like, yep, another hash?
Not by me. No.
Somebody out there probably is just like, again, that makes 20 this month.
Oh, all right. Well, speaking of, since you got to get to that movie, let's move on. One episode left, and it is Arrow. Season 6, Episode 20, Shifting Allegiances. Oliver made peace with the Bratva and tried to convince Anatoly that following Ricardo Diaz was not honorable. The B team ran into Diggle and Argus while tracking a weapons deal and connected the dots between Diaz and the Quadrant. Renee tried rejoining the fight and struggled with PTSD. Diaz used Black Siren to lean on Quentin Lance, even though she is not his daughter! Last minute reveal, Diaz had Oliver's bail revoked and set his trial to start next week.
Oh my God, Arrow, baby, what are you doing? What are you doing? I don't mean Oliver Arrow. I mean Arrow the damn show. What are you doing? So, okay. How have we seen any evidence that Diaz is really this big, scary dude? Is the city really dying? They keep telling us this. They keep saying this is what is happening. And other than Diaz setting a man on fire, which was not cool, man. Not cool. There is no evidence of this. This is you cannot keep telling us how bad everything is and not showing it to us. This is, I am so disappointed in Arrow. I'm not mad. No, you know what? I am mad and disappointed both, Arrow. I'm both mad and disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go to @SouthernSiren again. Because I think she airs a lot of our grievances. So Diggle apologizes to New Team Arrow. New Team Arrow yet again offers no apology, nor do they take any responsibility. Can someone remind me again why I'm supposed to side with these assholes?
Yes, continue.
Renee needs to shut up and leave this show. I like the actor, but there is no coming back for me with Renee. He and Curtis in the last 2 episodes have expressed glee over Oliver's current situation. Take your sanctimonious attitude and shove it.
Yeah, that really, really is irksome. I don't see how they rehab that character at all. He is way too happy about the difficulties of his former colleague, who he turned state's evidence on. I have to remind myself of how great Rick Gonzalez was on Reaper. He was a sweet guy. He was in love with a demon. He was one of my favorite people in that show. He was so good. And he's so hard to tolerate on here, and I hate it. Ugh. His daughter had cute cat pajamas. Okay, continue.
Black Siren is an inconsistent mess of a character. Last week she was bitching about Diaz rolling over for other criminals. This week she's saying she's scared of him. WTF. Black Siren has complained about not getting to kill enough people. Now she's this poor little victim of Diaz. It's dumb and makes no sense. She's a metahuman who has taken out rooms full of men with machine guns, yet she can't take out Diaz? Since they are sleeping together, why not kill him when you're alone together?
Mm-hmm. All of those things. This is true.
I was cheering when Lance ripped into Black Siren. Finally, he made sense and was opening his eyes for her not being his damn daughter. Sadly, it didn't take long for him to be back to being stupid. And then what else do we have? If we need a redemption this season, let it be Anatoly. I can't help but root for Oliver and Anatoly to be friends again.
Yes. Oh my God. So if Anatoly is back on Oliver's side by the end of this season, I'm not saying the season will have been worth it. It won't have been. But I will be so happy because that falling out has been really hard to watch. That was such a cool relationship. And it's been, heartbreaking is a little too much, but I hated watching that. So it looked like Anatoly really was coming back around to Team Oliver, which makes me incredibly happy. So yes, Southern Siren, indeed.
Yeah. There are a couple of other tweets, but they all basically kind of make the same point. This is just, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I agree with you. I thought the Anatoly stuff was actually interesting.
Oh yeah.
He kind of threw the situation back in Anatoly's face. And I liked that whole test. The stuff that I couldn't take this week was all the stuff with New Team Arrow.
Yeah.
It was just, I don't know. The whole thing with Renee, him hesitating and everything, like that should be an interesting arc, but just his attitude, the fact that they don't acknowledge it.
Yeah. And I was a Curtis defender for a time, but he also has sort of come around to, Oliver got what he deserved. And I wish that he would be the voice of reason on that team to say, hey, we did some stuff too. But they haven't, there is nobody on that team who has any kind of, I think, reasonable response to everything that's happened other than, Oliver, take that. Ugh. Nobody wants to watch that. Also, was that big fight scene set in a water jug warehouse? Because every time those big racks fell over, just water jugs spilled out.
Oh, the sets this week were all repurposed?
Oh my God. Why does that Moscow alley look exactly like that Star City alley?
No, and what is Anatoly and his gang doing in Oliver's loft? It's totally like, and what? We couldn't get the old Chinese restaurant set, so we just remade Jitters to look like a Chinese restaurant. Screw you. It was so blatantly obvious that that's what they'd done. And just have Quentin go in a line, new location with an upgrade. Like, oh, no, this is Jitters.
No, we watch all these shows. We see you.
Like, that made this episode feel really cheap. I mean...
What are they saving their money for? Like, what are we... Oh, you know what? Okay. You know what they're saving their money for? I really try not to criticize looks and appearance, especially actresses. They have to deal with it enough. But dude, Katie Cassidy's mascara, she like glued spider legs on her eyes. That's where all that money is going. For a terrible, terrible lash extension, bad, clumpy mascara. Dang, lady. Okay, I feel bad. I'm sorry, sisterhood. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
And also, give us more than 30 seconds of Felicity, damn it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was another one of Southern Siren's tweets. Yeah,
so,
but
yeah.
I mean, to be... I couldn't see a place for her to fit for them to fit her in this episode.
Well, it's just dumb that Oliver kicked her off of the comms. Why wouldn't you want to have somebody knowing where you are and kind of monitoring? I just that especially is a really ridiculous decision on his part to be like, I don't even need you as support in my ear. That's not dumb. It's dumb.
I got to get back to basics.
Well, and actually, I will. Okay, in Oliver's slight defense, it kind of was a solitary mission at first. I mean, I get that. That was an interesting point that he raised, but it's not anymore. And it has grown beyond that. And he needs to see that. And I thought Oliver had grown enough to admit that, he needed people. And I don't think Diaz took over the city while he was distracted. He was distracted by asshole former teammates, which were problematic. But that was an interesting point. I still think he's wrong, but I was like, oh yeah. I also, the toxic masculinity on Diaz, who's all like, leave room for my guns and my muscles and my $100,000 suit. Oh my God, shut up. And then the fist fight to the death. Ugh. He's just not an interesting villain. They're not even trying. They just keep telling us he's an interesting villain. It's not working.
See, yeah, I was more upset with Quentin this episode.
Oh yeah, he was terrible too.
It's just funny. Like, you even saw him walking through it and acknowledging that she's not his daughter, and then he still signs it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, for a while. Well, I was excited when he was all like, you're not my daughter. You wouldn't do that, which is great, but it's super inconsistent with everything we've seen from him. So even though I'm glad to hear him say it, it doesn't track with everything else he's been saying. And then he does a complete 180. Ugh. Mm-hmm. That poor actor must look at the script every week. And Paul Blackthorne's just like, what are they making me do now? God damn. No.
So yeah, I think that's enough bashing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I am mildly interested in the trial stuff, although I feel like even the reporter in the end there used air quotes around Star City's justice system. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, I think Jean Loring can push for a change of venue. She could waive the right to a speedy trial. I mean, they've already...
Ooh, change of venue. You are correct. I realize Diaz says he's got everybody in his pockets and he controls the courts and things, but that's going to be grounds for appeal that he was denied a change of waiver that his attorney should be asking for, because there's no way he can get a fair shake in Star City. Come on. Mm-hmm. The appellate court is going to have to see that.
Now, this trial is only going to be one episode, right?
I assume so. Will it be better or worse than the Flash trial episode this season?
Exactly the same. That's my bet.
So horrible.
Get ready to pull your hair out.
Good.
Yeah, for one, I'm going to make sure my father does not watch this episode.
Yeah, your father, the prosecutor, and my husband, the defense attorney, we need to keep them far away from this.
Yeah, keep away from it. All right. Was there any news from Arrow?
A little bit. The title of the finale is Life Sentence.
Well, I think that spoils next week.
Spoilers. And, this was news that came out a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't talk about it on air, and I don't know why, because we talked about it a lot online. But Arrow's getting a new showrunner at the start of next season, and it's going to be Beth Schwartz, who is a current executive producer. And that means that the current showrunner is Wendy Miracle. She is leaving at the end of this season, and Mark Guggenheim is going to transition to executive consult on Arrow. You know what? It can't hurt at this point.
Yeah.
Any change is going to be good, because it's season 5 had rough patches, but in the end, I think really course corrected strongly. Season 6 has had some highlights, but overall, I've been super disappointed with. So if season 7 means Beth Schwartz takes the helm, there's nowhere to go but up, right?
Yeah. I think this is you have to make the move at this time. It will be interesting to see how they transition for Arrow. I mean, if you always feel like these types of shows can go on forever, especially on the CW, but will they start transitioning towards an end for this series?
You kind of think they have to. If it had been having gangbuster seasons, I'd say no, it's got life still, but it feels like it's sputtering a little bit. So maybe we start to wind down. I mean, I don't want to say goodbye to it, but I don't want to be mad about every episode I watch. So.
All right.
I'm sorry. She's not his daughter, you said? She's not?
She's not his daughter. No, she's not. She's not. She isn't. She is not. She is not his daughter. She isn't. Nope. Never. Never was. Never will be. Stop it.
Hey, do you want to transition into news?
Yeah.
Because I've got some stop it for other shows.
Oh, go for it.
All right. Let's start with Gotham.
Okay.
Releases from upcoming episodes have more teases about a female villain wearing a Harlequin mask, because this show can't fucking help itself. It has told us we're not getting a Harley Quinn, and then it's like, oh, but here's the lady villain, and she's in a Harlequin mask, but it's not Harley Quinn. Wink, wink, wink. Gotham, be better than this. I love Gotham. I love the Gonzo Gotham, but don't do this. The Joker thing was too far. Don't do this, Gotham.
Yeah. All right.
That's all I have for Gotham. Let's see. Moving on to Legends of Tomorrow. Digital Spy did an interview with actor Michael James Shaw, who played Papa Midnight on Constantine back in the day. Okay. And he is all about playing Papa Midnight again on Legends. Nobody from the show has approached him about it, but it sounds like operators are standing by if they do. Now, I have to confess, I don't even remember who Papa Midnight is. I have very little recall of Constantine. Ooh, I'm going to need to rewatch that, I think, if we really are going to bring people back for Legends next season. Mm-hmm. Who is Papa Midnight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the voodoo guy. He was a witch doctor.
Okay.
Yeah.
That rings a tiny bell.
I'd be up for that, but I don't really know where he would fit in. I think
I could see a guest starring role on one episode where you consult or something, maybe.
Yeah, but see, the other thing is Constantine. That show had a totally different vibe to it. And a very different tone from Legends, and some of those elements I don't know how they would blend. If you were gonna bring anyone from there, it would probably be Jim Corrigan, and that would be just to show the Spectre. Which sounds like you're very confused about right now what that means.
Yeah, again, I remember very, very little. I was lucky to remember the little girl who was referenced in Legends. I was like, oh yeah, I do remember that, and that's pretty much it. And then the poor Lucy, what's her name? Not Lucy. The character, the woman who was gone after the first episode or two.
Yeah.
Bad luck there. Actress who played Maid Marian in Robin Hood on the BBC. And then was in season 1 of Preacher, whose name I still can't remember. Okay. Mm-hmm. Hey, speaking of Preacher, this is not show news necessarily, but Dominic Cooper, who of course plays Jesse, and Ruth Negga, who plays Tulip, were a real-life couple, but they have recently split.
Aww.
And this is gossipy, but it also is... I have already super struggled with the Jesse Tulip relationship on the show in that it's not the amazing, awesome goals that it was in the comic book. It already was a little fractious and contentious, and Jesse kind of seems to hate Tulip a lot of the time, which is awful and so against the comic. And now they're broken up ex-lovers. Oh my God. That's not good. That's not good at all for Jesse and Tulip.
I mean, they're both professionals. She's an Oscar nominee.
True.
I think they could work it out. They could make that work. I think...
Yeah, there's precedent for that, right?
You know, I to me, the thing that's not clear this season is what Tulip's storyline is. And I think they need to do something to make her more interesting.
Well, we've long talked about on the Preacher vs. Preacher podcast, which is a part of the Wicked Theory stable of podcasts. When I've guested on there, we've talked about how it'd be nice if they could kind of reboot Tulip in this upcoming season 3, because her personality has been so different from the comic, and to me, really distractingly different. And if she can, I don't want to spoil too much in case you haven't caught up yet with season 2, but if we could see a swift change to what her priorities are and how she approaches things, that could be really cool. But you're right, they're professionals. They will do their job. It was already not the loving relationship I wanted, and now you've got exes. Oh, yeah. Just didn't bode well. But you know, Jennifer Garner and Michael Vartan pulled it off in Alias, and that was okay, I guess, in later seasons. So moving on. Titans. We have our Wonder Girl, Ed.
Wait.
Connor Leslie from Man in the High Castle will play Wonder Girl.
Okay. Which Wonder Girl? Because there's Donna Troy and there's Cassie Sandsmark, and they're very different.
Donna Troy.
Okay. That makes sense, because this seems like they're going with the Dick Grayson generation, so it should be Donna Troy. So that works. Do
you have a favorite one? Is Donna the best Wonder Girl?
I don't know. Sure. Yeah, why not?
All right, congratulations, Donna.
Yeah.
You're Ed's favorite. And that's really it for Titans. As yet, we have no information about the streaming service, when, where, how, cost, accessibility. What a fun mystery.
Just make this happen. Please, just like drop it now. Like,
just tell us.
You know what? I've been binging all these Marvel stuff lately. I need some DC to cool me off, you know? To bring me back into the fold. I just, come on.
Did you catch speaking of Marvel, the Deadpool 2 trailer with the super mean DC slam in it?
Yeah, Bill Sweeney made me watch it. Even though I'm on a trailer fast right now, I'm only watching the trailers that Bill tells me I have to watch for Wicked Theory. And I made me watch 2 Deadpool trailers, and one of them was, yes, the one with the dig, and I thought it was deserved. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was fair. It was funny. And also, you know, Ryan Reynolds can do no wrong, especially in that character.
Yeah.
So this has been the DC and Marvel TV report. No. Okay, one more piece of news, and that is for Watchmen. And it is, I don't want to say upsetting. It's surprising, intriguing, and it could go either way news about Watchmen. And that is that Damon Lindelof has said that it's not going to be a direct adaptation of Watchmen. It's going to be more like the Fargo TV series, in that it's set in the world and it's thematically and tonally inspired by the original material, but it's not going to be a direct retelling. And that is confirmed by some early character descriptions of the cast they're looking to fill out, and they're almost entirely cops. Which, I mean, police are not a big part of the comic that I recall. It's been a couple of years since I read it, but really different. You know, we're not casting Silk Spectre. We're not casting the comedian. We're not casting Rorschach. We're casting police officers and their spouses and children.
Well, I mean, we don't know if that's the full cast. They may also be casting those characters on the down low. This is just like casting call stuff, right?
Definitely, yes. And it could be smokescreen. It could be covering for what they're really looking for. There's a lot of ways they could be doing this. I am of 2 minds about this. One is I would have been a little bit more in despair if I didn't like Fargo so much. But Fargo is such a well-done TV show. And is, if Lindelof, and of course Damon Lindelof has endless goodwill for me because of The Leftovers, the best TV show of 2017. If he hadn't compared it to Fargo, if I didn't have so much trust in him, I might be a little more like, ugh, why are you even bothering? But those are really, really, really great comparisons. That's really exciting. So, cool. Let's see. Does it feel like it could be a little bit powerless-ish in that it's support staff around superheroes?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, see, to me, that sounds more like what like Astro City would do.
Mm-hmm.
But, to me, like, if you're going to do Watchmen, you have to have superheroes. Even if you're not going to do that world. And even Fargo, the TV show, the first season was, you know, really a loose adaptation of the movie.
Incredibly loose.
Yes. Yeah. But it covered, it was pretty much the same setup. Same time period and everything. But, I would say I'm open to this. I didn't want a straight adaptation of the book just because I think we already got a lot of that with the movie.
And that's a good point. I was expecting a straight adaptation, but when we talked about this off air, you got me thinking, did I want a straight up adaptation? I'm not sure that I did. That's a good point too. It was just kind of what I was expecting, but this could be even more exciting, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm up for this. I'll wait and see. You know, if we get it, because you know, it looks like they're just shooting the pilot first before they get a series order. So, you know,
I trust HBO to have a pretty good sense of what they're looking for. I'm guessing I'm hoping. I'm optimistic that if it's gotten this far, HBO knows what they're getting into bed with. Ooh, also, one other little bit of news about Watchmen. David Lindelof had some fighting words for Alan Moore, the creator of Watchmen. Alan Moore is known for being super, super critical of adaptations of his work. He doesn't want people playing around with his characters. And David Lindelof's basically like, you know, Alan Moore is known for the Killing Joke. And that took established characters and played around with them. So come on, man, back up off me, basically. Yeah. You don't usually see people coming for creators like that. I was like, ooh, David Lindelof, dang.
Yeah, although it is weird because Alan Moore is actually critical of his own work. He's actually said he doesn't like The Killing Joke because he thought DC let him and Brian Boland go too far. Come to think of it, when Marvel re-released his Miracle Man issues from the 80s, he actually had them take his name off of it, and it was credited to the original writer. So
here's my question. What does Alan Moore like? Does Alan Moore like anything other than his beard?
Yeah, that's about it. He's an odd bird. He's a very subversive guy. Evidently Neil Gaiman is allowed in a room with him. And they hang out and chat all the time.
Literally, what room is Neil Gaiman not allowed in? Is Neil Gaiman not welcome with open arms everywhere he goes? He's Neil Gaiman.
Yeah. But so I don't know. I mean, Lindelof's not wrong, but in Alan Moore's defense, a lot of the adaptations of his work are not so great. Like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and
that was so bad.
And From Hell, to name a few.
From Hell was yeah.
Mm-hmm. I really like V for Vendetta, and I think the Zack Snyder Watchmen is pretty good too. So I think it's more mixed, but I think he's also petty because if DC hadn't released before Watchmen, which, let's face it, they were going to do anyway, at a certain point, the rights to Watchmen were going to revert back to him and Dave Gibbons, but that was never going to happen. So I think that's why there's bad blood on his part. But yeah, we'll see what Lindelof does, and whether or not he can back up his Mac.
I believe that he can. I believe in him. I believe he can fly. I believe he can touch the sky. So we'll see. And that's the news of the week.
All right. So winners for the week.
I kept mine really simple this week. My winner is Leo Snart, Citizen Cold, who was returning to Earth X at the end of The Flash to marry the Ray. Congratulations to the happy couple. They're registered at the Helmet and Ice Cream store. I wish them all the best. Genuinely happy. And I hope that season 2 of The Ray on the CWC, the little animated shorts, deals with that a little bit. I would love to see just a touch of that happy marriage. So, yay, Leo and Ray.
Yay. All right. And my winner this week was LARPing. My only exposure to this was the movie Role Models. And I was very impressed. Not only like the fact that like really built guys were into LARPing, and you know that the way that you could turn it into a Thunderdome, and evidently adding zombies to LARPing gives it a whole new dimension.
So can I tell a quick LARPing story?
Go for it.
I was exposed to LARPing in that I used to work fast food, specifically Hardee's, in high school. That was my high school job. And one of my coworkers was so into Vampire the Masquerade LARPing that he had actually had his canines like filed down into fangs to better LARP for Vampire the Masquerade. And I think I'm safe saying that because I'm not friends with him and his wife on Facebook anymore, so I feel like I can be like, that was weird, without them knowing about it. But that was weird. Also, when you go to Hardee's, do you want fries with that guy to have fangs? I feel like you don't. You don't. You don't.
All right.
LARPing. That's a great winner of the week.
All right. And on that note, that's the DC TV report for this week.
And a little bit of Marvel, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. It's like, Sarah, you'll make the movie on time.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So you can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sara Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. If you want to make suggestions for what we're going to do this summer, make sure you tweet at DCTV Report and hashtag it DCTV Summer. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. It really helps. That's the way Apple Podcasts especially works. The more ratings and reviews we get, the more people get exposed to us. So that helps.
Like in the gamma radiation kind of way.
Exactly. Yeah. That's Marvel, Sarah. Damn.
I'm really sucking this week.
Also, check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam.